Hello and welcome to Hispanic Agenda, Washington's only bilingual news program. I'm Alejandro Negron. Thank you for watching. On the agenda today, I'll talk with dreamer Steven Arteaga, who recently met with President Obama. But first, when discussing Latinos and education, it's common to hear about high school dropout rates that are high and college completion rates that are low. But a recent study by a top education group finds that while challenges remain, progress is evident. ABC 7 News' Jeanette Reyes reports.
A recent report released by Excelencia in Education reveals that Latino students are making great strides when it comes to high school graduation and college enrollment, but it also does something else just as important. It shatters the many stereotypes and misconceptions that have long plagued the Latino community. Many times when some Americans think of Latinos, these are the images that come to mind: immigration, poverty, even crime.
The Latino community has we have a lot of potential, we have a lot of talent, and I think that's a story that isn't getting out there.
But a recent eye-opening study by top education group Excelencia in Education strongly counters those misconceptions and myths. The 2015 fact book paints a more accurate profile of Latino students, one that shines a spotlight on academic achievement. For example, Hispanic high school dropout rates have decreased by nearly half, from 24% to 13% between 2003 and 2012. Although Hispanics were less likely to graduate high school on time more than any other group, except for African Americans.
We do have some positive trends, and it's a good sign for the community and the country.
Also a positive trend, Latino college enrollment is projected to increase more than any other group. Between 2011 and 2022, experts see a 27% increase. But a large percentage of those Latinos will be going to community colleges. At 46%, a disproportionate amount of Latinos were enrolled in community colleges in 2012.
Some of that is economic factors. We know community college is more affordable and our families are struggling, and the cost of higher education is going up.
The report also highlighted the challenges ahead as the Latino population continues to grow. By the year 2050, Latinos will make up 40% of the population under the age of 5. But along with African Americans, they are more likely to live in poverty than others. For Hispanic Agenda, I'm Jeanette Reyes.
Thank you, Jeanette. Next on the agenda, Steven Arteaga, a dreamer and DACA recipient who recently met with President Obama, will join me. Then later, the Dale effect. Music icon Pitbull is approached by Republicans and Democrats for an endorsement, but will Mr. 305 support any of these political parties? That's coming up on Hispanic Agenda. Welcome back to Hispanic Agenda. I'm Alejandro Negron. The fight over immigration reform continues to intensify as Republicans in Congress attach funding for the Department of Homeland Security to limits to the administration's executive actions on immigration. A group of DACA recipients met with President Obama this week, including 19-year-old dreamer Steven Arteaga, who joins me now. Steven, it's a pleasure to have you on Hispanic Agenda. Thank you for being here.
I'm glad to be here.
So first, tell me what it was like to meet the President of the United States. I'm pretty sure this was a big day for you.
It was. Actually, I was really nervous before I met him.
Yeah?
You know.
Is this the first time you ever met?
Yes, this is the first time I ever met him. And I really didn't know what to say. Like, I was a nervous wreck. And my hands were sweating, and I just didn't know how to explain myself to him.
Of course, you guys were going to talk about DACA,
yeah.
The DREAM Act, immigration reform. What did you tell the president?
I told the president that I thanked him for DACA and DAPA because,
The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Act.
Yes, because it changed my life in a really positive way.
How did it change your life?
Well, for starters, ever since I was little, I've always seen my mom struggle. And I never liked that because she's my mom, and I could never do anything about it.
Did you grow up in a single family home?
Yes.
Your mom?
Just my mom.
A single mom?
Single mom. And ever since I seen her struggle, I would always try to get a job, but nobody would hire me. I was like a 14, 15-year-old kid trying to look for a job, and plus I was undocumented. Nobody was gonna hire me like that.
Okay.
So
basically you told him your personal story and how DACA has impacted your life. What was his response? What did he tell you?
He told me that we needed more people to be like open about, more people to apply for DACA and DAPA, because now that we've extended DACA and DAPA, it's like the numbers count. For example, there's a lot of fear in the community, in the immigrant community, about applying for DAPA and DACA, because 2 years from now the president will not be in office. And they fear that if some other president comes into office, they can take it away, and plus they have the information, like their personal information.
So they're afraid of coming out of the shadows because of fear that a future, I guess, Republican president or any other president may take that benefit away.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's a fear that I used to have. I used to think like that, but now that I see it, Dreamers have been fighting for a long time. And so far what we've accomplished is DACA and DAPA.
So basically what he wanted to do was get you guys, DACA recipients, people who have benefited from these executive actions, to go ahead and sell this to the public, to other immigrants, and say, hey, go ahead and maybe get more numbers in the books and argue for a broader immigration reform.
Yes.
I guess. How does it make you feel now that you see this debate going on? Republicans have attached the funding of the Department of Homeland Security to limits to the president's actions on immigration. Basically, they're saying they don't want you, Stephen, here, that you came illegally, you don't deserve to be here. How does that make you feel?
I feel like there's a lot of ignorance going around, because the United States, is a nation of immigrants. Everybody that came here came from immigrants.
Sure.
And if they say that they're American, 100% American, that's a lie. Because everybody came from somewhere. Nobody was just here. The only people that were here were the Native Americans.
Of course, some people will say, well, they came here as legal immigrants, and that's the difference. But I want you to tell me about your personal story, because I want people to understand this. You were an undocumented immigrant.
Yes.
Now you have DACA. But when did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States when I was barely 4 months old. My mom brought me.
Obviously, you did not make the decision to
No.
come illegally to the United States.
I did not. So, she brought me without consent. But she was just looking for a better life for us, for my brother, for my sister, for
What
my
does your
family.
mom do?
She cleans houses for a living.
Okay.
And, it's hard seeing her do that, because she wakes up early in the morning. She comes home late at night, and it's hard to see that, because I would always see her struggling, and I would always try to help, and I couldn't, because I was still a kid, and I was undocumented, which was the worst part.
Well, now you're not. Now you have DACA. Are you in school?
Yes. Well, at the moment I am not, but I will be attending the University of Houston downtown next semester.
What are you going to be when you grow up?
Not really sure. It's my freshman year, and I still don't know what I want to do, but...
Hey, I understand. My son just turned 18 last week, and he still doesn't know exactly what he wants to do. What are your hobbies? And the reason I'm asking you these questions is because I would imagine that people watching and look at you as an undocumented immigrant, they may be surprised that you're just as American as any other American boy in their neighborhood, although you are, in fact, undocumented.
Well,
what do you like to do?
In my free time, I like either working out or playing Frisbee, actually.
Sounds pretty American to me. All right, so going forward, you are going to take the message back to the community that people should definitely sign up for DACA and DAPA.
They definitely should, because this is how far we've gotten with Dreamers. What we want is an immigration reform.
Sure.
And so far, we've gotten DACA and DAPA out of it. And I know it's not the whole picture, but it's something,
Okay.
And if people are afraid to come out of the shadows and apply for it, they're just going to take everything away, and we're just going to be back to the same spot we were.
Stephen, I wish we had time for more. Congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Stephen Arteaga. When we come back, some big names in Latin music made news this week. Music icon Pitbull received a few party invitations, and Colombian superstar Juanes is set to perform en Español at this weekend's Grammys. I'll talk to El Sol Radio's Pedro Viaggi coming up. Welcome back to Hispanic Agenda. I'm Alejandro Negron. Pitbull is apparently the most wanted man in politics. Both Democrats and Republicans inviting the Cuban-American music icon to join their party. But Mr. 305 responds with an invitation of his own. And fans of Latin music superstar Juanes are looking forward to his live and in Espanol performance at the Grammys this weekend. And who best to discuss these topics than Pedro Biaggi, morning host at El Sol 107.9 Radio.
Vaya.
Pedro Biaggi.
Good morning.
Welcome. Bienvenido.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
All right, so let me start with the whole Pitbull thing.
Yeah.
So Democrats have a pretty strong hold on Hollywood,
Yes.
Right? And celebrities in Hollywood. What about Miami, which is the Latin American version of a Hollywood, I guess,
Right.
Do the politics are the politics in Miami different than the ones in Hollywood?
Absolutely, because the Cubans is that one community that's really tight, and they support each other no matter what. When they make a decision, they all go together about it.
Okay, so definitely there's a place for Republicans among Latinos in Miami, in that celebrity group of people in Miami.
Well, Cubans, from in time, they have been mostly Republicans, and very obvious, very outspoken about it, except when we have a Democrat president, that the Stefans work for them too.
And Gloria Estefan has publicly
supported
Republicans?
both candidates. Bill Clinton, Obama, Bush. She's such a star that she is good for anybody.
Now, is Pitbull's support for a political candidate going to influence Latinos in any way, do you think? Do you think a Latino watching this program or listening to your radio show says, all right, Pitbull is going to vote for whoever? They're going to vote for that candidate?
Well, if people go
Are we that simple?
No. People could go to the Republicans. The Pope could go to the Republican Party and try to help them, and he won't be able to.
At
So
the moment,
never mind Pitbull.
At the moment, the Republican politics are so bad for
They could bring
us to get in the Latino vote.
Jesus Christ could come from the sky
And it won't
to
happen.
support the Republican Party. No Pitbull, no artist, nobody's going to be able to help them for what they've done to us, the community, the Latino community. They treat us, the way they speak about us, every little step we make forward, they take it back. It's really not a happy ending.
Do you think that's all Republicans or a certain specific segment of the Republican Party?
Well, it wouldn't be fair to say that it's all Republican, but
Because, for
let's say
example, Jeb
99%.
Bush, for example, Jeb Bush this week spoke in favor, for example, of the Dreamers.
He has to.
He has to.
Yeah, of course, they have to say anything they can to save their, the Republican Party is so deep in the hate department from the Latinos that they got to say whatever they can.
All right, we're talking to the very outspoken, as always, Pedro Biaggi. Now, you're a successful broadcaster, but you were also a very successful operative inside of the music industry. For an artist such as Pitbull to support any candidate, whether it's Republican or Democrat, does that hurt the candidate? Does that hurt the artist?
It does. I think it does, because it's a fine line that artists should never cross unless they do it in a very generic way. You see, Pitbull is so overexposed that he's not going to help anybody right now, because Pitbull is everywhere. We're kind of like, we need a break from Pitbull.
Okay.
So an artist that affiliates themselves with a political party always get hurt. Daddy Yankee did it the last time with McCain.
Yeah.
He got really hurt.
And Daddy Yankee being one of the biggest music stars of reggaeton in the world.
That move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about Juanes. Let's kind of switch topics.
Love Juanes.
Big moment this Sunday at the Grammys.
Yes.
He's going to sing in Spanish.
Yes.
What song will he be performing?
He'll be Juntos.
Okay.
But it's a big moment for Juanes. He's been having big moments a lot.
Lately,
He's the biggest. He has the biggest amount of Grammys. He's such a huge star that it will be a special night. But he's had a lot of those nights. He was in the Ellen Show. He was in American Idol. He crossed the line to a superstardom that not many Latinos have right now.
He's definitely crossing over. Now, how big a moment for Latin music will this be on Sunday, since he will be performing in Spanish?
It'll be huge. It'll be huge for us. Latinos in the Grammys have always been minimized. I remember a time when I was walking in with Olga Tañón through the front doors, and they told us, I'm sorry, you cannot come through this door. You got to go through the back. This is just prior to the Latino Grammys. So,
and we should clarify that.
Yeah,
there's the Latin
just
Grammys,
before that.
there's the Latin Grammys and the regular Grammys.
Right, but I remember walking into we were in the red carpet. They were like, excuse me, Alejandro Fernandez stopped and said, we got to go back. we can't come in through here. You know,
Alejandro Fernandez
told Olga and myself, you got to come through here. So, you know, it is a huge, anytime we have presence, Ricky Martin, any Latino that gets to be on that show represents us as a race and as a culture.
And he'll be performing the song, the official song of a new movie.
The movie from Disney, a Disney movie.
Disney movie,
yes.
which stars Kevin Costner as a coach who helps these immigrant kids in Texas.
It's great for Juanes.
All right, Pedro Viaggi, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great.
All right. When we return, immigrants hoping to become U.S. citizens can lace up their walking shoes instead of hitting the history books to prepare for the citizenship test, an active and creative way to learn American history when we return. Welcome back to Hispanic Agenda. I'm Alejandro Negron. American citizenship is a privilege many immigrants dream of enjoying. To achieve it takes hard work. After meeting residency requirements, you are expected to answer questions about our history. The city of Philadelphia, which is, after all, where delegates of the 13 original colonies gathered and adopted the Declaration of Independence, has created a self-guided tour for new citizens and those studying to be citizens. Adriana Arvizo, Public Relations Manager for VisitPhilly.com, came up with the concept and is here to share it with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi.
It's a pleasure to have you on. So how did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, well, as you said, this is an idea that came out of my personal experience. When I was getting ready to apply for my citizenship test, one of the steps, of course, is to study for the test and get ready and learn American history. Like many, I immigrated here when I was older. I was 18 years old, so I didn't see, I didn't study American history growing up. So when I was going through the 100 questions in the study guide, I realized that I knew a lot of the answers, even though I didn't go to school here. So I was very familiar with Betsy Ross, Benjamin Franklin, in the independence, and I.
For living in Philadelphia, you have to be.
Exactly.
Right?
So I realized that just because I was being exposed to those attractions and that history, it was way easier. It was easier for me to learn, to know the answers to these questions. So that's how I came up with this idea, and I said it's easier to remember something that you see in person, that you enjoy, that you tour, then it's easier to remember the questions.
And of course, a lot of the history is in Philadelphia and cities like Washington, D.C. That's one of the great things about living here, right?
Exactly.
All the history. So tell us about this tour and what we may find. For someone who's either studying for the citizenship test or just wants to know more about history.
Exactly. And as you said, DC, the people who live in this area have a great advantage because then they get to, if they visit Philadelphia, they get to see the first capital of the U.S. and now, the actual capital. So what we did is we packaged 13 historic Philadelphia attractions that are within 1 mile radius. So this is something that you can do, let's say, in one day or in a weekend. It's something that you can tour with your family. We package this in a printed brochure that you can find in our Independence Visitor Center in front of the Liberty Bell, or you can go online and download the brochure. It's visitphilly.com/newamericans. We also have it available in many languages, such as Spanish, French, and Mandarin.
Okay, so the tour is not only in English, of course, it's Spanish and other languages, which you just mentioned. If you can repeat that.
Yes, that's correct. We would like to invite users to visit our website, and then once you're on the website, you're able to download the information, the tour, in Spanish, French, and Mandarin.
And just to go through some of the history that you can witness in this tour, we're talking about the Liberty Bell Center, Congress Hall, Independence Hall, where the first American flag was sewn, I guess.
Yes. So it's once you go, for example, to the Betsy Ross house, you're gonna see why our flag has 50 stars and why it has 13 stripes. So you're gonna see the house where Betsy Ross lived and how she came up with our flag and what it represents. So once you,
which are all going to come up in the citizenship test.
That's correct.
Which is the reason why you have this self-guided tour.
Yes, there's 100 questions in the study guide. However, once you're doing your test, they're going to ask you 10 random questions. And from those 10 questions, you have to have at least 6 right.
Okay.
So that's how it works.
How'd you do in the test? How did you do on the test?
I haven't done it. I'm still in the process and I'm studying. It's a long process. Once you file, it takes up to 3 to 6 months for you to get to that point. But I have to get 100.
You have to get 100 after doing this tour, right?
Yes.
All right. Where can folks go to get more information?
Please visit us online and www.visitphilly.com/NewAmericans.
New Americans, that's the name of the tour. And how far is Philadelphia from Washington, D.C.? It's a couple of hours drive, right?
Yes, it's very easy to get there. Okay. You can either go by car or the bus or train station. It's very easy to get there. And another thing that I would like to say is that it's a great family destination.
It is.
If you're going with your kids and perhaps they're seeing this at school, it's a good. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but we have to go. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you.
All right, please check out our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter @agenda_DC. I'm Alejandro Negron. See you next week.